It is officially over.
He failed his plan of taking over the community and becoming rich from doing that.
Marlo, who is ranked as the #1 Minecraft PvPer on her own tier list, is officially completely exposed with this video.
Marlo also intentionally had a goal to get Itzrealme to quit PvP, and that's why he was gone for like over a year. Can you believe that? Itzrealme is the greatest PvPer of all time, and Marlo like convinced him to just quit or manipulated him into quitting.
To understand Marlo, you first have to understand a player named Danger Mario. Danger Mario was a competitive Minecraft player active in the 1.9+ Crystal PvP scene. For those who don't know what that is, Crystal PvP is one of the most mechanically demanding forms of Minecraft combat. It involves placing and detonating end crystals in rapid succession using shields, axes, totems, and precise movement all at the same time. It's incredibly difficult to master and has a tight-knit, highly competitive community of players who dedicate serious time to becoming the best at it. Danger Mario was known in that community. He had built a real reputation as a good player. And then he got caught cheating. Now in a community this small and this competitive, getting caught using hacks or an illegitimate client is essentially career-ending. It doesn't matter how skilled you were before. You lose all credibility instantly. Your name becomes associated with fraud rather than skill. And that's exactly what happened to Danger Mario. Whatever reputation he had built was gone. According to the theory that the community has since pieced together, this is the moment where Danger Mario made a decision that would define the next several years of competitive Minecraft history. Rather than just quitting or trying to slowly rebuild under the same name, he apparently decided to start from scratch entirely. New identity, new persona, new strategy. But here's the part that's important to understand, and this is what separates this from just being a regular cheating story. The theory is that Danger Mario didn't just create a new account, he planned something much more deliberate. And to execute that plan, he first needed to build infrastructure. After his cheating scandal, Danger Mario created a practice server called PvP Club, hosted at mcpvp.club. On the surface, PvP Club was just a well-built practice server. It had duels, FFA, team modes, multiple regional proxies covering North America, Europe, and other regions. It became genuinely popular in the Crystal PvP community, one of the go-to servers for serious players who wanted to practice and improve, and it was run under the name the PvP Club team, with no single publicly named owner. That anonymity was baked in from the start. Now think about what that server actually represented from a strategic standpoint. PvP Club put Danger Mario in control of the physical space where competitive players practiced and fought. He could see who was good, who was rising, who was influential. He had admin-level control over the server environment. He had a legitimate reason to be embedded in the community even after his cheating ban, because on paper he was just the PvP Club team, and he was generating revenue, because popular Minecraft servers make real money through donations, VIP ranks, cosmetic purchases, and community subscriptions. PvP Club becoming a hub for serious Crystal PvP players meant consistent income flowing to whoever was actually running it, quietly, behind the anonymous branding. At some point, Danger Mario stepped away from PvP Club publicly, or appeared to. He disappeared from the scene. The server continued running. The community moved on. And then shortly after his disappearance, a new player showed up. The new player was called Marlo, and she presented as a girl. In the Crystal PvP scene, which is overwhelmingly male, that alone was notable. But what really made the community pay attention was her skill level. She wasn't just good, she was performing at a level that people hadn't seen before. She was reaching Tier 1, the highest rank in the community's ranking system, MC tiers, across multiple game modes simultaneously. Crystal, PvP, Sword PvP, Mace, Axe, Pot PvP, UHC, all of them, at the same time. Most elite players in this scene specialize in 1 or 2 modes. Being at the absolute peak across all of them at once was, to put it plainly, unprecedented. The community's reaction was a mix of admiration and immediate skepticism. The admiration came from the raw performance. The skepticism came from several places. The fact that she appeared out of nowhere, the fact that no one could find any history of a female player at this level anywhere, and the fact that the timing of her emergence lined up almost perfectly with Danger Mario's disappearance. But, at this point, most people were willing to accept it. She was good, she was entertaining, and she quickly began building a brand. This is where the financial picture starts coming into focus, and it's something that doesn't get discussed enough when people talk about this story. Marlo didn't just play competitively, she built a full content creator presence around being the best Minecraft PvP player in the world. Her YouTube channel launched and started growing. Her Discord server, called Marlow's Manor, eventually grew to over 281,000 members. To put that in context, that is 250,000 people gathered under her brand, all engaged with her content, all being driven toward her videos, her announcements, and her products. She released her own texture pack, a Crystal PvP and Sword PvP resource pack, distributed through her Discord and promoted across the community. In the competitive Minecraft scene, having the best player in the world use and recommend a specific texture pack is enormous. Players imitate top players. If Marlow's pack becomes associated with elite performance, it drives downloads, it drives Discord membership, it drives brand recognition. And all of this scales directly with one thing: how undeniably the best she is. Every ranking she holds, every challenge she wins, every impressive clip she posts, all of it feeds back into the brand. More followers, more watch time, more YouTube ad revenue, more Discord members, more texture pack downloads, more influence with content creators and server owners who want to collaborate with the biggest name in the scene. Being the #1 Crystal PvP player in the world is, if you build it right, a monetizable identity. And the theory is that whoever was behind Marlow understood that from day one and built the entire operation with that in mind. Then came the move that really set everything in motion. MC Tiers is the ranking system for competitive Minecraft PvP. It's the tier list the whole community uses to determine who the best players actually are. The system works on testing rather than traditional LO. To rank up, you have to beat someone ranked higher than you. To become HT1, which stands for High Tier 1 and means the single best player in the world, you have to beat the current HT1 in a direct series of fights. There is only ever one HT1 at a time. At some point, Marlow became the owner of MC Tiers. The accusation from the community isn't that she was simply handed it through a normal transition. The claim is that she effectively seized control of it. Theobald used her position and influence within the competitive community to take ownership of the very platform that would determine who was best.
This is when she stole the website, bro. This is when she stole the website. In the contract, it was like part of the deliverables, like, oh yeah, we'll make the website, but you guys like partner with Jackpot MC, blah blah blah. But then she just like the whole time she was like working on her own server. Yeah, and the way we lost a bunch of money was she like kept saying, oh yeah, we'll release the server in like 2 weeks.
What that meant in practice was staggering. She owned the ranking system. All tier tests took place on her server, PvP Club, where she had full admin access. She controlled who was allowed to test, who could challenge for HT1, and who was banned from the system entirely for what she called spreading misinformation about her. She silenced critics by framing their accusations as harmful slander against the community, and backed that framing with the power of removing them from the only official ranking platform that mattered. Think about what that combination actually represents. She is simultaneously the judge, the referee, the arena owner, the champion, and the regulator of who is allowed to compete. Every single one of those roles stacked on top of each other, with no separation between them. If you designed a system from the ground up to make it as difficult as possible for anyone to legitimately challenge or dethrone you, you couldn't do it better than this, and the financial angle here matters too. Owning MC Tiers wasn't just about keeping her ranking secure. Owning the ranking system meant having authority and influence over the entire competitive community. That authority made collaborations easier to secure. It made her voice the loudest in the room when decisions were made about who was legitimate and who wasn't. It meant brands and server owners looking to work with top competitive players had to go through her ecosystem. It made her, functionally, the most powerful person in competitive Minecraft PvP. Now let's talk about the people around Marlow, because understanding the story properly means understanding each of them and how they fit in. Itzrealme before Marlow. Itzrealme was the undisputed best Minecraft PvP player in the world. He held the HT1 spot on MC Tiers and was widely respected throughout the community. When Marlow emerged, Itzrealme and Marlow were reportedly very close. He consistently defended her against anyone who raised concerns. Every time a critic appeared, Itzrealme would shut it down publicly. From a strategic standpoint, that relationship was invaluable. Having the former #1 player personally vouching for you is the most credibility you can borrow from anyone. It makes accusations look petty and unfounded. It tells the community, this person is legitimate because the best person who ever did this says so. Whether Itzrealme was aware he was being used in this way, or whether he genuinely believed in Marlow, is something the community has debated extensively. He seems, based on available evidence, to have genuinely believed in her, which arguably makes it worse, because if the theory is correct, the sincerity of his support was being exploited rather than bought. Itzrealme eventually retired. and the moment he stepped away, the shield was gone. Marlo ascended to the undisputed #1 position, and with Itzrealme no longer in the picture, the scrutiny that had been building for months started becoming much louder. Swight was broadly considered the second best PvP player in the world. He was specifically regarded as the best shield PvP player around, and by multiple accounts had fought Marlo to essentially even results. He knew her game as well as anyone. Swight was one of the first high-profile names to publicly raise serious doubts. He shared clips, including one the community nicknamed Marlo having a seizure, showing gameplay footage where her movement looked erratic and inhuman, flickering in ways that looked inconsistent with normal human input. This specific clip got passed around widely and became one of the foundational pieces of evidence in the cheating discussion. The fact that it was Swight raising these questions mattered. This wasn't someone who had never played at her level. This was the person closest to her in skill in the entire world saying that what he was seeing didn't look right. Sharpness. Sharpness is one of the top sword PvP players in the competitive scene, sitting at tier 2 in sword and highly respected by the community. His significance in this story isn't just about his skill level, it's about what he did when the evidence started piling up. Sharpness reportedly joined the AXIMITY evidence call live, on camera, while the video was being put together. He didn't just get mentioned in passing. He showed up and participated in the discussion of why the community believed Marlo's identity was fraudulent. That's an entirely different level of involvement. It's an endorsement of the investigation from someone who knew the scene from the inside. TheobaldTheBird, Theo. Theo is widely considered the best cart PvP player in the community and has an encyclopedic knowledge of Minecraft PvP mechanics in general. Beyond being a top player, Theo had a direct working relationship with Marlo through Unstable Universe, the massive scripted Minecraft SMP run by Parrot X2, where they appeared in content together in front of millions of viewers. That existing relationship is what makes his participation in the AXIMITY evidence call so significant. He wasn't just a community member who had watched her clips and formed an opinion. He had worked directly alongside her in collaborative public content. For him to join that call and participate in the investigation was a statement that someone with direct personal knowledge had reached conclusions about what was going on. Dr. Donut runs Donut SMP, which by late 2025 had grown into consistently one of the largest servers in all of Minecraft, regularly surpassing Hypixel with over 40,000 live players at peak times. He streams almost daily, has a massive and engaged audience, and is one of the most well-known figures in the competitive Minecraft content space. For a long time, Dr. Donut was one of Marlo's most visible supporters and promoters. He featured her content, shouted her out to his audience, and lent her the credibility of his platform. The two had a public report that the community found genuinely charming. Fan edits and TikToks pairing, the two of them circulated constantly, and there was widespread community speculation about a crush dynamic between them, though nothing was ever confirmed. That context is what made the fallout hit so hard. Because Donut eventually turned. He started calling her out publicly, accusing her of hacking and using a voice changer on stream, pointing to the technical evidence and making clear that he believed something was fundamentally wrong with her gameplay. He became one of the most prominent voices publicly pushing back against her, and given how close they had appeared and how much he had previously promoted her, that shift carried enormous weight. People who had dismissed earlier accusations found them harder to ignore when someone who had been in Marlo's corner was now saying the same things. Donut pointed specifically to what happened when Marlo released her hand cam debunk video. He noted that her axe stun accuracy dropped dramatically, missing roughly 90% of axe stuns that any player ranked HT4 or above should be hitting consistently. He laid that out in front of his audience and asked them to draw their own conclusions. KhalihMortimer was a top-ranked player in MC tiers, sitting around the top 5 or 6 globally. When asked on stream whether she thought Marlo was cheating, KhalihMortimer said she didn't think so and that Marlo had told her a lot and she believed her. That statement is actually really revealing, not because of what KhalihMortimer said, but because of what it shows about how Marlo operated. Keeping close, personal relationships with highly ranked, credible players, having private conversations where you share just enough to generate loyalty, and letting those players defend you publicly without fully knowing the picture, that's a pattern that runs through almost every relationship in this story. Vexay was ranked somewhere around 96th in the world on MC tiers when he issued one of the most publicized challenges of the entire controversy. He offered Marlo $350 to fight him, with one specific condition. The fight had to happen on Mineman Club, not PvP Club. He chose Mineman explicitly because it's known for having one of the best anti-cheat systems in competitive Minecraft. Marlo had previously beaten Vexay 20-14. Taking that bet should have been easy money. Instead, she stalled. She went back and forth, made excuses, delayed repeatedly, and dragged it out for over 7 hours through the night until Vexay had to leave to catch a flight. The fight never happened. The money was never played for. The community's reaction was immediate. You don't stall for 7 hours against someone you've already beaten to avoid a fight on a specific server unless you have a reason to avoid that server. The most obvious reason being that you can't cheat on it. ParrotX2. ParrotX2 is the creator of Unstable Universe, one of the most popular scripted Minecraft SMPs on the platform. He cast Marlo as a character in his series, specifically as the primary antagonist of the Finding the Tomb of the Minecraft Mafia arc. In the lore of Unstable Universe, Marlo's character was described as the best Minecraft player in the world, dethroning Itzrealme and ranked first on MC tiers. The scripted SMP world and the real competitive world were being deliberately blurred. The impact of that appearance on Marlo's real-world brand was massive. Her monthly subscriber count reportedly quadrupled after joining Unstable Universe. Millions of casual Minecraft fans who had never heard of Crystal PvP or MC tiers suddenly knew who Marlo was. They knew her as the best player in the world because that's literally how she was introduced in the story. And those millions of new fans fed directly into her Discord, her YouTube watch time, her texture pack downloads, and her overall revenue. An appearance in a massively popular scripted SMP became, in effect, one of the most valuable marketing moves in competitive Minecraft content history. Whether ParrotX2 was aware of the controversy or chose Marlo knowing about the questions surrounding her identity is not publicly documented. What's documented is the outcome. She went from a well-known figure in a niche community to a broadly famous Minecraft content creator almost overnight. Let's actually go through the specific evidence that the community compiled, because this is where things get very precise. The first major piece came from an analyst named MeteorOnTop, or Competitive Minecraft on Reddit, who put together a detailed document analyzing Marlo's Tier 1 Mace montage, video frame by frame. In that video, Marlo lands 5 stun slams. Every single one of them lasts exactly 7 frames at 60 frames per second, approximately 0.117 seconds. Within that window, each time she performs the exact same sequence of 4 hotbar swaps at perfectly identical speed, 5 separate times, perfectly consistent. The argument from the community is that this level of mechanical repetition, identical frame counts, identical swap speed across 5 separate instances, is not how human hands work under pressure. That kind of precision is what a macro looks like. Then there were the numbers from her HT1 challenge against a player named Legendary. The fight ran for 40 minutes. Over the course of that fight, Marlo hit 199 out of 201 shield stuns, a 99% accuracy rate. Legendary's accuracy across the same fight was approximately 82%. The community pointed out that even the best human players in the world don't sustain 99% accuracy for 40 consecutive minutes in a high-pressure competitive fight. Elite performance has variance. There are misses, there are off moments, there is fatigue. A 99% rate maintained for that long looks less like an extraordinary human performance and more like a consistency that software can maintain when humans can't. Then came the debunk handcam video, and what happened to those numbers in it, nay? Her shield stun accuracy dropped by approximately 10%, and more strikingly, her axe stun accuracy dropped dramatically. She was missing roughly 90% of axe stuns that any player ranked HT4 or above should be landing consistently. That is not a bad day. That is a different player. There was also the clip that Swight shared, the one nicknamed Marlo having a seizure, showing movement patterns in her gameplay that flickered and shifted in ways that community members with technical knowledge described as consistent with certain types of aim assist or reach hacks briefly malfunctioning or overcorrecting. And there were clips circulating, including one from a player named Sub4Giro, appearing to show Marlo hitting targets while facing completely backwards, something that, under normal Minecraft mechanics without modification, should not be possible. On the technical identity side, a video called The Art of Deception by a creator named Critical1Y went deep into the file structures and claimed PC specs shown in Marlo's content didn't match up with what she claimed to be running. These technical discrepancies were part of a broader patterns that the community documented. Small inconsistencies that individually could be explained away, but collectively formed a picture that was hard to dismiss. All of the cheating evidence by itself would make for a significant story. But the identity theory that Marlo is Danger Mario operating under completely fabricated persona is what makes this whole thing extraordinary. The theory rests on several pillars. First, the timing. Danger Mario disappears from the competitive scene after his cheating scandal. Shortly afterward, a player with no competitive history and no verifiable background emerges and almost immediately begins performing at the very top of the scene. The exact scene Danger Mario had been part of, the exact server infrastructure Danger Mario had built. Second, the voice. Marlo's voice, in the clips where she spoke, sounded like a girl. Skeptics immediately said, voice changer. The theory is that Danger Mario had a naturally higher-pitched voice for a male, which made the AI voice manipulation easier to execute convincingly. Multiple community members who analyzed the voice clips noted patterns they described as artifacts of AI voice processing. Unnatural pronunciation of certain words, cadence that sounded processed rather than natural. Third, and this is the one that the community considers the smoking gun, the leaked screenshots. These screenshots, which circulated through Discord and X, allegedly showed Danger Mario in private messages and group chats discussing the Marlo persona. The content of those messages included discussion of Marlo's video, My Experience with the Minecraft PvP Community, approximately 6 months before that video was ever posted publicly. That detail is hard to explain away. You cannot discuss the specific content of a video that doesn't exist yet unless you are the person planning to make that video. If those screenshots are real and not fabricated, and the community has argued at length that faking predated discussion of unreleased content would be extremely difficult, then whoever wrote those messages had foreknowledge of a video that was being planned in advance. That points directly to the same person being behind both the Danger Mario account and the Marlo account. That video, for context, was a significant piece of content. It was Marlo opening up about being a girl in a male-dominated competitive scene, talking about the harassment and doubt she faced just for being a woman who wins. It generated enormous sympathy. It went viral within the Minecraft community. It was widely shared as an important video about gender and competitive gaming. The community's read on it now, in light of everything else, is that it was a pre-written narrative, a scripted sympathetic arc designed to generate goodwill and provide a permanent deflection against any future accusations of cheating or identity fraud. If you accuse a girl of cheating in a male-dominated scene, you're being sexist. That shield was constructed deliberately and in advance. The AXIMITY YouTube video, titled Marlo's True Identity, became the central community document that compiled all of this. What made it particularly significant was that Sharpness and TheobaldTheBird both joined the call live during the video. They didn't just get mentioned in the evidence discussion, they showed up. Two respected, high-ranking community members with direct knowledge of the competitive scene and personal knowledge of Marlo sat on that call and participated in the evidence review. That is not something you can dismiss as a random content creator making claims. That is community insiders going on record. There was also a video referenced in community discussions by a creator called Zay, who compiled comparisons of Danger Mario's and Marlo's playstyles and found patterns the community described as eerie similarities, footwork tendencies, hotbar habits, crystal placement timing. The kind of subconscious mechanical patterns that form over thousands of hours of playing, and are very hard to consciously change even under a new identity. When the pressure became impossible to ignore, Marlo posted a response video. The video was shot on what appeared to be a fresh PC setup with a hand visible on a mouse. It was clearly intended to demonstrate that she was a real person playing legitimately on clean hardware. But the community tore it apart almost immediately. The face wasn't shown at any point. The keyboard was never shown clearly, and the gameplay itself was, as described above, measurably worse than her regular content. The accuracy drops were documented and widely circulated within hours of the video going up. Marlo's official response to the identity accusations was to go on the offensive. In her Discord, she told the community that anyone spreading the Danger Mario theory was engaged in malicious impersonation and that Danger Mario and his surrounding group of friends had gone to extreme lengths to ruin her. She framed the entire situation as a coordinated harassment campaign by people who wanted to destroy a girl's reputation in a competitive scene. And then she released a formal statement announcing she would transfer ownership of MC Tiers and leave all related staff positions. In the same statement, she wrote, "I reject the claims of corruption, theft, and abuse that have been made against me as an owner, and my decision to transfer ownership does not serve as a concession to being guilty of these claims." She also stated that a comprehensive debunking video was among her top priorities and that it would take time to complete due to the scope of the accusations. Ownership of MC Tiers was transferred to a player known as Ryrie, also written as Ryra. The transfer happened, the statement was made, and the debunking video that was promised as a top priority has not been released. In early 2026, Marlo announced her retirement from Crystal PvP, citing a desire to focus on content creation and other game modes. Whether that was genuine or whether it was a strategic exit from a situation that had become unsustainable is something the community continues to debate. Let's step back and look at what all of this actually amounted to financially, because this is the part of the story that explains the scale of the motivation. Danger Mario, if the theory is correct, built PvP Club from the ground up after his cheating ban. That server generated consistent revenue from a dedicated competitive player base, donations, VIP ranks, cosmetics, community memberships, all of it flowing to whoever was actually running it behind the PvP Club team, Anonymity. Then the Marlo persona was launched. The YouTube channel grew. Her Discord, Marlow's Manor, reached 281,647 members. She released texture packs distributed through that Discord and promoted across the community, driving downloads and increasing her brand's reach. She appeared in Unstable Universe, and her subscriber count quadrupled. YouTube AdSense revenue scaled with views. Channel memberships added monthly income. Sponsorship opportunities opened up as her audience grew. Then MC tiers. Owning the ranking system meant owning the credibility infrastructure of the entire competitive scene. It meant her position as number one was not only claimed on the leaderboard, but ratified by the organization she controlled. It meant brands engaging with competitive Minecraft PvP came to her first. It meant every collab, every appearance request, every piece of sponsored content was filtered through a reputation she had engineered and defended through that ownership. All of it was built on a foundation of false identity, automated gameplay, admin-controlled test environments, and the systematic silencing of anyone who got too close to the truth. The community management, the relationship cultivation, the preemptive sympathy narrative, all of it served the same purpose. Protecting the brand, protecting the income. When you map it out, what Danger Mario allegedly built wasn't just a fake identity for the sake of playing a game. It was a full content creator business built on deception, generating real money from a community that was being misled at every level. The community's view at this point leans heavily toward the theory being correct. The evidence is circumstantial in parts and technical in others, but there is simply too much of it, from too many independent directions coming from people with too much direct knowledge of the scene to dismiss outright. The single thing that would end the debate definitively, showing her face, has never happened. And the longer it doesn't happen, the louder the absence becomes. What's certain is this. The Marlo story is, whatever the final truth turns out to be, one of the most sophisticated and deliberate cases of community manipulation ever documented in gaming. Whether it was one person behind all of it, or something more complicated, the trail of evidence points to something that was planned carefully, executed patiently, and defended aggressively for years. The AXIMITY video, Critical Ones, AXI's Art of Deception, and the Zay breakdown videos are the deepest publicly available sources for the evidence itself. If you want to go further down this rabbit hole, those are where you start. All credit will be in the description, and let me know your thoughts below.